Did you guys catch The Stranger on Netflix recently? If not, trust us, you're in for a treat. This is one of those rare gems that we see no marketing about, but you put it on and it's an insane ride. Now that the movie has become a success, Joel Edgerton's not only campaigning for it, but he's also super excited. We want to dish out all the deets, so let's just get to it. First off, where, when, and how has this been off our radar?
I never felt more free until now, mate.
You guys know that Netflix keeps on springing new content on us, be it documentaries, shows, or films. There's something for everyone, but usually we have some kind of heads up, like we save the date or at least know what's coming up. It's true that with the amount of content that there is on the streaming platform, we couldn't have seen everything, but crime thrillers really do thrill us, and it would have been a shame if we missed this. The film is based on Kate Kyriacou's book, The Sting. The undercover operation that caught Daniel Morcombe's killer has been written as well as directed by Thomas M. Wright, and Joel Edgerton has produced it while also starring in the recent hit. No one saw this success coming, literally. Not the cast, not the director, and not even the streaming platform. The film was acquired by the streamer at Cannes and is now number 4 on the globally viewed list. Not only that, it's in the top 10 list in almost 54 countries. Edgerton says no one is as surprised as them. The movie revolves around a cat and mouse chase to hunt down the killer of a 13-year-old boy. What's interesting is that this is based on true events. In 2003, Morcombe was kidnapped from Queensland's Sunshine Coast and was later found murdered. It took the authorities 9 years to track down and arrest the killer, Peter Cowan, who was then put on trial and found guilty of the crime. Coming up, the recent surge in real crime thrillers and how accurate this one is.
It's true.
If you're a Netflix buff like us, we're sure you've noticed how many of these based on actual events kind of films the streamer has rolled out recently. The truth is, the platform has gotten an audience cheat code. The whole thing of watching a series, then being able to read up about it and compare notes is proper geek behavior, and we stand by it. The Stranger, however, does not dwell on the crime itself. In fact, these guys have changed a lot of the details, added characters, haven't shared any visual of the crime, or reenacted it. The movie is a hit because of the relationship between the undercover detective Mark Frame, played by Edgerton, and the suspected murderer Henry T, who's being portrayed by Sean Harris. The two characters are in a cat and mouse game as the detective tries to build trust and get the murderer to confess his crime. And it gets pretty intense, guys, but oh so thrilling that you'll be on the edge of your chairs at all times. This is a movie that's not to be missed. The actor and producer, Joel Edgerton, is quite surprised at the success of the film as well, because they didn't have a red carpet event or even do press briefings. What can we say? The content really speaks for itself. Even in Australia, it was released to select theaters before being launched on Netflix. Let's talk about the limited marketing of the film. We mean it's a proper gem they've come up with, so why not go crazy with it? The answer is, since it's based on actual events, the parents of the victim protested against the film in Australia, and that stirred up some media coverage. But the Australian actor and producer didn't want to fuel any controversy, so they retreated silently. To be fair, the movie is an intense two-character story and is in a way honoring the police, who remained on the case for years and made sure the murderer was caught. Since its release, the film has been nominated for 11 AACTA awards, including screenplay, direction, as well as best film. The actors Harris and Edgerton have been nominated for their brilliant acting, and if that doesn't convince you that this one's an epic watch, we don't know what will. Seeing how it was done so well without any promotions at all, the producer is now motivated to campaign for the film. Talking to the media, he said, "I may be trying to put on the sandwich board and stand on a street corner, saying there's this little film over here that's thrilling and entertaining. It's a movie that has found its audience by word of mouth, and that in itself is such validation. Like they didn't need to convince anyone to watch their movie. People just picked up on it naturally, and now it's viral. We love getting such surprises, don't you? Not to mention, Australian content is doing great on Netflix. Since we're on the topic, we wanted to let you know of all the other Australian content that has been doing really well on the platform. The Heartbreak High series has been rebooted, and this one was adored by the viewers. There's also the Chris Hemsworth star Spiderhead. That has gained a lot of attraction, and to be honest, we're sure people would have seen the movie for the actor alone. And Interceptor has done really well, becoming the global #1 this year. So make sure you guys catch up on these, as well as the super popular The Stranger. Let's learn more about the true story behind this crime thriller. Isn't that something we all love to do? Reading up on what actually happened once you're done with the movies or TV series which are based on actual actual events. And while we always bring notes to compare, this crime thriller was different. Less about the crime and more about the investigation. The movie follows undercover detective Mark Frame, who's trying to get the murderer, Teague, to confess to killing the boy. The murderer is recruited as a part of a sting operation team to bust a fake drug ring. Do you see the genius here? Promised a big payday, they made sure the killer won't leave. And also, imagine the insane need to always remain in character around this guy. It was superb acting. And while we see many times the story deviating from what really happened, they made sure that the investigative details are as close to the actual thing as possible. For example, Morcombe and his movie counterpart both get kidnapped from the bus stop under the Queensland overpass. It's pretty heartbreaking to know that the child had been out Christmas shopping for his family when this happened. It's also true that an undercover agent befriended Cowan and made him part of a fake sting operation. And from the get-go, you feel this dislike for the kidnapper, who was found to be a pedophile later. Just watch and you'll know what we're talking about. Let's look at the actual people from the movie and where they are.
And I think it's a challenging film, but it's certainly not an abusive film whatsoever.
Rep Peter was caught and put behind bars. To have so senselessly and cruelly cut short a life, we'll never understand what goes on in the minds of such criminals, to be honest. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2014 and 2016 at the high-security Walston Correctional Center in Wackle. Another inmate threw a bucket of boiling water on him, which landed him in the hospital with burns over 15% of his body. In 2018, he was stabbed to death in the neck with a sharpened toothbrush by another fellow prisoner. We want to be sensitive about this, but honestly, this just feels like karma hitting back. Coming to the undercover agent, the actor said that he never met him because they were going with a more fictional approach, and that makes sense really. However, there was a cop who befriended the murderer, and he was known as Paul Fitzy Fitzsimmons. Funny name? We think so too, and chances are this isn't his real name at all, but we're all about respecting identity covers. But because his identity was kept so hush-hush, we'll never know how similar he was to Mark Frame, or if there was any truth to the fictional character's own story. The cop did testify against Cowan in the trial, but there too, his actual identity was kept hidden for safety reasons. Finally, the family's response to the stranger. The family of the victim has taken a firm stance against it, for obvious reasons. The truth is that, unlike other shows and movies, this one's the least offensive. Having said that, we understand that for the families of the victims, content like this means reliving some very difficult moments. His parents have rejected the idea that this is a work of fiction because the actor playing Cowan resembles him a great deal. We can't help but feel terrible about this. Daniel's parents run a foundation, educating children about staying safe both physically and in the online world, so that no one ever has to go through the terrible ordeal that they went through. That's a wrap for this video. Have you seen The Stranger yet? And do you agree that this one deserves all the attention that it's getting? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and press that bell icon for the latest information and news like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.